How does the college football playoff impact TV deals? Because I'll go back to this graphic right up in here where you have 6 Pac-12 schools in the top 25 of the college football playoff.
How about that?
And you're telling me that's not significant?
I'm not saying it's not significant. I was talking about Washington.
I just don't understand how the Huskies are in there. Like, you know.
Yeah, neat. Like, there's no reason for them to be in there.
So should Oregon State be in there?
No, absolutely not. Okay. No, hell no.
So should Ole Miss be in there?
Yes, because they're an SEC team that could beat Washington and Oregon State. That could beat Michigan. That could beat Penn State.
God, if you could put Vince Lombardi on the phone, please.
What am I supposed to say to Ole Miss doesn't belong there?
That's not what I said. Are you kidding me? That's not what I said.
Well,
I said Ole Miss should be there. Washington and Oregon State should not be there. And Ole Miss should be there because they're an SEC team. Their wins are more quality than the Pac-12, right? Their wins are more quality than Washington's. Washington has no business being in the playoff.
Here are the wins for Ole Miss. Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, number 7 Kentucky.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, Auburn, Texas A&M. So what's the quality win on that schedule?
I would say that they have better wins than Washington has.
Okay, let's debate. Here are Washington's wins. Kent State, Portland State, number 11 Michigan State. Okay, Kentucky at number 6 is a better win than Michigan State. I think we would all agree with that.
I'd even go as far as to say those cancel each other out. Those are equal.
Okay. Stanford, Arizona, Cal, number 23 Oregon State. That's a better win at this point in the season than any game on the schedule for Ole Miss.
Would you take Washington over Ole Miss? So you're saying that Washington's a better team than Ole Miss?
Washington going to Eugene and beating Oregon is more of a feather in the cap than anything that Ole Miss has done. That would be Ole Miss beating Alabama.
Yeah, I guess. The problem is Oregon's not even close to Alabama.
You're a hater.
Oregon's embarrassing. Oregon got run out of the building.
Oregon's embarrassing.
Dude, Oregon got run out of the building against Georgia. So let's
not
not
disagree
bring
with
Alabama and Georgia into the conversation.
But Georgia, in my opinion, is by far the best team in the country.
Right.
My point is that when I look at this graphic, you want to make an argument about Oregon State, okay, I'm here for that. Washington, UCLA, Oregon, Utah, and SC all belong there. Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, and Ole Miss all belong there. Right? I look at the ACC, North Carolina State doesn't belong there, in my opinion. I look at the Big Ten, and I say to myself, Penn State has no business in the top 25.
No.
I look at the American, UCF, and Cincinnati don't belong in the top 25.
Yeah.
There are teams that you could make this argument with. By the way, if you're anything less than the top 10 right now, we shouldn't even be talking about you in all likelihood. Washington's 17th. It's pretty irrelevant.
Yeah.
But all of this to say that our good friends in the Pac-12 are negotiating a TV deal. And I do think this matters. I think when you are the Pac-12 and you are thirsty as hell for a TV deal, and by all accounts, you're in the mid-20s on a TV deal per school per year, this matters, right? This absolutely matters.
Yeah.
Does this make the Pac-12 on par with the Big Ten? It doesn't. Does it make them on par with the SEC? Absolutely not. But I think I can make a pretty compelling argument that the Pac-12 is better than the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, you can make cases. I think where it impacts TV deals very clearly, though, is that the Pac-12 has the ability to say, hey, yeah, we're going to be able to put games of consequence from our conference on your network, and you're going to get viewership, right? So you should pay us more per school for rights. That's what I think it does. And I think, like, regardless of my opinion, like those are the rankings, and they do have 6. And I think that it's really interesting that you're having a great year when all this realignment's happening, right? It's funny how realignment in the concept of your conference dissolving might motivate some people to play some better football. So that's why I say I just look at these teams and in my opinion, the college football playoff and the AP are completely flawed, and it's one of the worst systems in sports, right? Like, we can all agree on that. Like, there's no need for top 25. There should be top 5, and that's it, right? And everyone else, sorry, you're out to pasture. We don't need to talk to you.
But I also think that the Big Ten's a fraud. I am not a believer in the
Ohio State.
No, wait, dude, the Ohio State. Like, I'm not because you got to put Brigham. Anyway, the point is, I'm not a believer in Ohio State, and I'm not a believer in Michigan.
But the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are opposites, right? Where, like, the Pac-12 is terrible at business and they're better at football, and the Big Ten is not nearly as good at football, but way better at business.
Right? I look at this graphic right here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, San Diego State saying, what did the 5 San Diego State fingers say to Stanford's face last night? Slap!
Yeah, in basketball, which I'm not here for today.
Wow. San Diego State, he's not here for you today, man. If you look at this right here, the 3 teams that are in the college football playoff from the Big Ten,
yeah,
I think I could make a pretty compelling argument that none of them should be there.
Right.
None of them should be there. By the way, breaking news out of Virginia. This situation with Virginia Cavaliers is crazy. The Virginia Athletic, if you don't know the situation, 3 Virginia football players were murdered. 1 other was wounded with another student as a former Virginia football player. Apparently went to an event, got off a bus, pulled out a gun, and shot them to death over the weekend. He'll be in court today, by the way. The Virginia Athletic Department announced that today the Cavalier home game versus Coastal Carolina scheduled for Saturday has been canceled. They will not play the game, and there's been a lot of questions about whether or not they will or will not play that game.
I mean, it's proper. I think it's proper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They will not play that game.
Yeah.
But if you look at this graphic right here, I think I can make a pretty compelling argument that what has Ohio State accomplished?
Yeah, I think Ohio State gets an auto bid 9 years out of 10.
But Jake, they beat Toledo.
I know they haven't beat anybody. They haven't. Like, I'm
serious. Here are their 10 wins.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Arkansas State, Toledo, Wisco, Rutgers, Michigan State, Iowa, Penn State, Northwestern, and Indiana.
You haven't beat anybody.
I understand that the Notre Dame win is a good win. It's Notre Dame. I think people rubber stamp that. I don't think anybody remembers. I understand you think that's a good win. Find me the other good win here. Because I'm here to tell you that Penn State is not a quality win. And if you look, Penn State lost to Michigan and Ohio State, easily the 2 best teams they've faced.
Yeah.
Purdue, here's Penn State's wins. Purdue, Ohio, Auburn, Central Michigan, Northwestern, Minnesota, Indiana, and Maryland. How is that at all? How are they in the top 25?
Yeah.
When you lose to the only 2 quality opponents you play. And then I just go back and I point at Michigan. Oh, but Monty, it's like the Pac-12. The Big Ten feasts on each other. When there's no meat on the bone, are you really feasting on each other?
Nope.
Colorado, here's Michigan's wins. No, mind you, number 3, Michigan. Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn. They beat UConn 59-0. Maryland, Iowa, Indiana. Penn State, Michigan State, Rutgers, Nebraska. That's it. You're waiting for me to.
This is what I mean, dude.
Tell me again. And I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I am a Notre Dame fan. So tell me again how there's any quality in the Big Ten right now. Is Ohio State 10-0? Yes. Do they belong to be the number 2 team in the country? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I look at these rankings. What are you paying $100 million per school per team for? But then I look at TCU and I say to myself, their wins are Colorado, who's garbage, Tarleton, SMU, Oklahoma down year. Their quality win is Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, number 17 Kansas State, at West Virginia, Texas Tech, and they just beat number 18, Texas. They have not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 wins over ranked opponents.
Yeah.
How are they not number 2?
Yeah.
Make me the case that TCU is not more worthy of being number 2 than Ohio State.
Yeah, I think Ohio State just gets an auto bid every year out of the Big Ten. Like legit, I'm not even joking. Like that to me feels like what happens because they've always got far and away better talent than anybody in the Big Ten. But again, the Big Ten is a 1-team league, and I think that the Big Ten is really, really good at business. They are not that good at football, but they are really elite at great TV deals and marketing and making it feel big and
But isn't that what we always talk about?
Yeah.
And if you're a small business owner, please take my advice on this. If you tell them it's the case, it becomes the case. We're the best, like these idiots that are arguing over cookies. We're the best cookie in Utah. Well, just keep telling people that, and eventually it's true, right? If you're in marketing like we are the biggest and the best sports talk show in Utah. We've been saying that for 5 years. Have we been the biggest and the best talk show in Utah for 5 years? No. But for the last 2 years, have we had more listeners than anybody else? Yes. Are we the best show? Yeah, but only because I'm the best looking. So if we tell you that, that becomes true.
Yes,
now
yes,
you
yes.
think, because I said it, I'm the best looking sports talk show host in the state. It's
That's
true.
right, T.
Right? It's true. If you're Ohio State, hey, we're 10-0, we're the best team in the country. How we're not number 1, I don't understand it. And all Ohio State does is Ohio State. That's all they do. We're the best team in the country. We're the Ohio State. And so now all of a sudden, when Kyle Van Noy's on TV saying, okay, hey, I'm Jimmy Smith. I went to Virginia. I'm Kyle Jones. I went to Florida. Kyle Van Noy, Brigham. Now he's done it so much that I'm sitting here saying, well, it's Monty Show. Let's talk Brigham football. Like, if you say it enough, it's true.
Yeah.
The Ohio State is 10-0. They're the number 2 team in the country. Alabama's a great example of this. Alabama's not one of the top 10 teams in the country right now, in my opinion. You can't win the way they've won and think you're one of the best teams in the country. You can't blow your feet off at just about every opportunity you get by missing sacks and dropping passes and blowing assignments and call yourself one of the top teams in the country. But it's flipping Alabama, and his name's Nick Saban for a reason.
Yes.
He's the greatest football coach in the history of college football because he said so.
Yes.
And there's a joke. One of our drops says, it is if I say it is.
Yes.
And that's exactly right.
Yes.
You're Nick Saban. You're the best coach in the history of college football. And that's why they're like whatever they are, 7th or whatever.
It is if I say it is.
You know, well, why is that? Because perception is reality in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have this conversation about the beloved all the time.
Yeah.
Notre Dame has no business in any way, shape, or form, and they're not this year, of being ranked in the top 25. Should they really have been on the field with Alabama all those years ago?
I don't know what you're talking about, all right?
Shouldn't Manti have been looking for his girlfriend at that point instead of playing football? If we're
Catch me outside. How about that?
That's probably a little too much. But my point is, as a bitter Notre Dame fan, I can even tell you they're not one of the best teams in the country.